Oh, how's it going? To the auction yesterday, I got a few new toys. No, not the banana. Don't be silly. I got a big box of transistor radios. Before you wrinkle your nose too much, I proposed to you that the transistor radio might make a fun collectible under the guise of it's pretty compact. You could have a pretty big collection of transistor radios and have a nice shelf with some nice displays, and it could be pretty small. There was a heaping box of transistor radios. I figure in the scheme of things I paid less than $1 a piece, and there's about almost 30 of these things. They're kind of various stages of yuckiness, and I just pulled a couple out to see what's going on here. Thought I'd give them a quick rub down, see what we got. Some of these things look way worse than they really are just because they're dirty. This is a weird radio. I guess it sits upright. It's kind of interesting. The badging has gone off of it, what it is, so we're going to have to use our imagination. Now, even if you get some that are chipped up, you're still kind of ahead. And I'll show you why. A lot of these are actually all very similar. They're kind of like the younger cousin of the All-American 5. And okay, so this was a Motorola, so now we know what this is. Actually, this is more important than the badging on the front. Yeah, it's got a little bit of, looks like a little corrosion in there. No biggie. Looks like it ran on, it says mercury cells. Install 4 mercury cells with buttons down. Now, if I remember right, the mercury cell is not the same voltage as the humble AA cell. So it looks like that just sits in there. That's a little corroded, so I'm gonna pull this out. This is actually a fine example. This one's a little more. This one's probably older since it's so big. That's kind of interesting. That speaker is really weird looking, isn't it? It's the speaker here. I think this is what. Well, it's got a magnet. Now I believe that's got a coil. I don't know. I might take that out and give it a good look-see. This is pretty interesting. It's got a huge tuning dial on it. One of the other things that grotty old radios are good for are parts. Parts for other grotty old radios. So if you've got one that doesn't work and it's the transistor, a lot of these sets have what they call these are mostly what they call a Japanese 6 transistors. Amazingly enough, the actual radio itself only has 3 transistors. The other 3 are actually the kind of the preamp, power amp part. So the actual RF and tuning part of it is only 3 transistors. Most of these transistors of this era, these little kind of bottle type transistors, and almost all of these are Toshiba, and they're almost all germanium. You know, like here's a Toshiba. Some settling of contents may occur. It's really hard to see in there. It's a 2SB422. This is actually a pretty neat little radio. The other thing that these are kind of handy for is if you have friends, which you do, that are tinkering with old transistor radios, they might turn into a valuable source of parts like the loop sticks. A lot of these, the tuning variable cap is the same on. And here's another, this is a Magnavox. It's a little bit, excuse me, I'm trying to rush and get the truck unloaded. I went to an auction yesterday, and the minute I go to an auction, it decided to try and rain, so I'm hurrying to try and unload the truck here. So you just do a little bit of wiping and got all this gunk off. Another thing already looks, there's a lot of gunk there. A little bit of shining. Weird, that's got kind of an interesting tuning. Must be a gear, maybe, or You know, most of these are... Well, I just broke the thing. Or maybe the... What the hell? Oh, I see the... So there's something amiss with the switch. Or maybe it was already broke. I don't know. I'll take credit. God, I'm just throwing things about today. This one's a little unusual. Ooh, this has got 8 transistors. Ooh, transistory. To understand, at the time, the transistor was a marvelous new device. It was going to revolutionize the world. The Japanese were taking full advantage of it. We were busy doing whatever we do here in North America. And they were busy making hundreds of products to shore up their industry. Huh, that's weird. I assume that's a Kleenex. Hope it is. Hope it's not used. Probably has the Ebola virus on it from 1950. And here it tells you how special the transistor radio was. It actually says transistor radio. Now it's just a given. Recommended batteries. It's got a little crud in it. Nothing that can't be wiped out. Oh, I see. It's got a little tuning string. See it all in here. This one's actually a pretty fine example. It's pretty easily repaired. Weird. I don't know what this is. It almost looks like a little, excuse me while I take a peek here. Oh, it's a couple of variable caps, probably for the local oscillator. It's got a huge loop stick. Almost all these radios had the ferrite rod antenna loop stick. I'm not sure why this why this Kleenex is here. Oh, there might have been a piece of paper or something in there. Somebody took it out. That just uses a standard 9-volt battery, which was called the transistor battery at the time. These radios actually have a detector in them right there, the little diode, the little glass diode. And this one has a little bit different transistors, but it's pretty similar. Probably made by Toshiba's, one of their evil rivals, like, I don't know. What's that say? Oh, NEC. Well, yeah, I was right. These are made by NEC, so it was one of their evil rivals. That's pretty cool. There's a little idler gear or tensioner right there to take up the slack on the string. And so what's the deal on this? Yeah, I'll have to do a little figuring. Focus. The volume control's a bit loose, but I'll bet $1 this just takes off and runs. A bulk of this radio is the actual power amp. Probably here, probably down through here, probably all this. They have an input transformer, push-pull, and then output transfer to the speaker. These little transistor radios are a good way to see early electronics in action. And you start to see stuff like Elna caps and stuff that you see in bigger pieces. These transistors are a little bit heavier. They're more the conventional type. They're NEC branded. Here's the variable cap, the tuning cap here, and this is pretty common in these radios. This is it's just a little plastic box with sheets of insulator and then the metal. It's a pretty clever idea. Well, so this is an AM84. I don't know, I'll have to do a little tinkering around and see if I can get going there. I just thought I'd show you that real quick. So for less than $1 a piece, you can have a lot of fun. You could have a small collection, like I started to say earlier. If you got friends that collect transistor radios, you might hang on to the broke ones and trade them. They might need the parts, small screws, you know, stuff that might be a bit of a bother to get a hold of, or even the cases. You know, if you got like this one here, the case is in pretty fair shape. A little plastic polish should clean that right up. If anything, you can always give it to your kids and they can break them up, but I don't know, I think I'd try and avoid that first. I don't know, just something to fiddle around with. Anyway, take it easy. Have a great day.